gonna need a bigger boat, Chaos Kids.
You didn't do it.
Oh,
let's try again. Okay,
that's the rewind.
Take two.
I'm testing.
Yes.
We're here.
Okay.
You're gonna need a bigger boat, Chaos Kids. I'm Amber.
And I'm Naomi. And it better not be a canoe.
Fuck, canoe.
And this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos.
Good one, sister. Even a boat. My God.
Fuck a canoe.
The amount of times I've thought about those two young men who
Oh,
want to do it again.
they want to do it again.
God bless
They just
them.
need a bigger canoe.
No, they don't. Jet boat. That's what they need.
Hi, sister.
Hi, sister.
What the Chaos Kids don't know is we've already been talking for the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, we pre-funked.
We had a sister powwow.
God.
It
Much
was necessary.
needed.
Yes,
Yeah.
we needed that. We both needed that.
God. Hey, before we hit record, do I suck? Do you suck? No. Do we suck? No.
I
Do you
don't
wanna
think we
record-
suck.
Should we do this? Yeah, let's hit record. That was the conversation.
that was the TLDR.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sister, you're going through it. You're going through it.
I'm
You know
going
what? It happens
through
to the
it.
best of us.
What's that?
I said it happens to the best of us. Why are you
So-
getting glitchy?
No, you're getting glitchy.
No, you are.
Okay. We were given specific instructions to nope the fuck out and start over. if we're
I'm not
glitchy.
getting any warnings here.
No error messages.
No errors. We're okay.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
okay. Well, you know what? We made it. This is our second recording of the week, so we're fucking killing it.
That's right. That's a lot. The recording part is easy. The recording part is fun. It's the
recording part
researching
is
and
the best part. It's
all
the best part.
bullshittery on the other end. That's
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. Anything you want to tell the Chaos Kids besides that?
Well. Oh, is this confessional?
No.
Oh, I was like that. We didn't hit record because that was a private conversation. No, like, well, what do you have to say for yourself? I'm like, no, I don't want that on air. You go up there and put that on. No, I don't want to share.
She's got nothing to share with the class. That's
Got nothing.
fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Sister,
Mhm.
are you drinking?
I'm just drinking an iced coffee right now. You know,
But it's decaf because you kicked the caffeine a long time
I kicked
ago.
the caffeine a long time ago. It's some decaf.
That's awesome.
You know, it's kind of toasty today. I went on my walkabout.
Is it warm? It's a little
Oh, it is
overcast, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I
Mhm.
went and got myself a little icy treat.
that's
And,
nice.
here I
That's
am.
nice. Well, the warm weather's coming and it's almost topless summer. So I'm looking forward to it.
She means her Jeep. But you know what? You do you. You do you.
I cannot wait. I'm like countdown to when Amber and Michael come over and help me swap the top off on the Jeep.
Swap the top. Yeah.
It's
like
always
an
a good
annual
time.
tradition
It
now.
is. It's an annual tradition. We have dinner, we swap the top, and then, that's the beginning of summer for real.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you're drinking water. What happened to your bucket?
Well, look.
Back to the mason jar.
No, I still have the bucket. It's just out in the living room, and I've been keeping the mason jar next to the bed here. So I have two waters now.
That's good.
Water everywhere.
Yeah. Hydrated in every room.
That's exactly right. Sister, I have a crime for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I guess.
Don't get too excited. Jesus.
Well, it's going to be a bummer, right?
I did cry a couple of times. Well, I teared up. I teared up a couple of times when I was researching this one. It's kind of, it's a bummer.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you about Larry Wells.
Okay.
Okay. So Lawrence C. Wells II went by Larry. He was born September 22nd, 1977 in Dunkirk, which is a pretty small town in very upstate New York on the shores of Lake Erie, like right on the border with Canada. Mm-hmm. It's like a little town that's like southwest west of Buffalo, which is all right there on the border, like next to
Okay.
Lake Erie, right? The very, very north border of New York. So Larry loved sports. He played a bunch growing up, including football, basketball, and baseball. And in high school, Larry met Jill. Lucas was her last name. That's her maiden name. They were both 15 when they met, like actual, real, true high school sweethearts.
That's so cute.
And after they graduated in 1996, they both went off to college together at the State University of New York at Fredonia, where Larry received a bachelor's in elementary education in 2000.
Okay.
And then he went on to get his master's at Walden University in 2004. That same year, he and Jill got married at the end of July at Merritt Estate Winery in Forestville. So like Forestville, Dunkirk, and later in the story where most of the stuff takes place in, I can't remember what the name of that place was. Oh, did I not write it down? I might have not written it down. Hamsburg or something. I can't remember the name of it. This is all like little towns / burgs in that same general area, like south of Buffalo.
Okay.
So Larry began working as a substitute teacher and a tutor, which gave him the ability to like really pursue his passion for educating and bonding with young children. Like that was really where he was at, you know, that's what he wanted to do. And students who had Larry as a teacher remembered him as kind-hearted and able to connect with them, each of them like individually. And he was known for taking under his wing the students who had problems at home to make sure that they had the best experience possible at school.
Oh, Larry sounds awesome.
Larry is awesome. This is the theme of this horrible tragedy.
Also,
Larry-
elementary school teachers are another kind of angel on earth.
100%.
God bless them. Elementary school. Whew.
And like choosing that, like that's what he wanted to do, you know, like he loved kids.
That's so awesome.
But even though Larry loved teaching, the job market was tough and permanent positions were really hard to come by. And he wanted financial stability. He wanted to start a family. He wanted to buy a house with Jill. And the substitute work just wasn't guaranteed and steady enough to make that feasible.
Right.
So in 2006, Larry began working at Toys R Us, which he originally intended to do as like a temporary gig, right? While he kept looking for full-time teaching jobs. But Larry's friendly and upbeat personality made him really well liked by coworkers and customers alike. He was kind of killing it at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And his job at Toys R Us started out with him working on the floor. He was hired by the store manager at the time, Bernard Gruska. Larry worked his way up into assistant store manager after Bernie himself was promoted to regional loss prevention manager.
Okay.
In 2009, Larry and Jill welcomed their first child, Madison, into the family. Larry was so in love with her and such a good dad. Like that was the constant. Everybody that talked about Larry talked about what an amazing dad he was. He was settled into his manager job at Toys R Us by then and working really long hours, but he always made time for his family when he was off. Jill talked about how amazing he was with Madison and how on his days off, he'd take her to Chuck E. Cheese, he'd take her to bounce houses, or he'd just take her to the park near their house and he would just play with her. He would play dress up with her.
Oh.
His cousin said her favorite memory of Larry is watching him with Madison.
Oh, God.
So this is Larry, right? Loves kids, especially his little girl. He's loved by all his coworkers. He's working at Toys R Us. He's killing it. In early spring of 2013, Jill and Larry found out that they were pregnant again. And the ultrasound revealed that it was another little girl. And Larry told Jill he really liked the name Peyton.
I like that name too.
It's a cute name.
It's a cute name.
Although it always makes me think of Peyton Place.
Oh.
Which I never actually saw because we're too young to have watched Peyton Place, but old enough to know when somebody calls something Peyton Place, they're calling it melodramatic because Peyton Place was the name of a soap opera.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I always think of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Wasn't that her name?
Oh, was Rebecca De Mornay's character's name Peyton?
Either her or the
baby?
little girl. Yeah.
I don't remember. I believe you.
Mm-hmm.
So on June 29th, 2013, this would be, Jill would be like 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
And June 29th was technically a Saturday because Larry's going into work at 3:55 a.m.
Okay.
So it's like the middle of the night, early morning, Saturday, June 29th. The bulk of the work to run a 30,000 square foot retail store like Toys R Us happens in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
That's when all the shelves get stocked. And Larry was the kind of manager that didn't just show up to let people in and like sit back while they did the hard work. Larry was hands-on and he helped with that labor. In fact, Larry really liked his job and he took it really seriously. Being a part of bringing joy to children was the absolute best for him, and as far as he was concerned. And a lot of his coworkers felt the same. Like a lot of the people that worked at Toys R Us were like, this is awesome. We sell toys.
Like big.
Yes. So when Larry arrives, he locks the door behind him after he lets himself in. It's 4 a.m. and the store isn't open. So the system is when other employees arrive for their shift, they radio Larry or someone else in the store to come let them in.
Right.
Isaac Mallet Lloyd and Cindy Barone, who was also another store manager, I think she was an assistant manager as well, were waiting for Larry when he got there. And so the three of them went in together.
Okay.
Isaac rode his bike to work that day. He walked his bike into the back, dropped his lunch off in the break room, grabbed a walkie-talkie, went and punched in, and went straight to the back to start putting away things that hadn't made it to the floor yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then at approximately 4:53 a.m., so about an hour later, Anthony Armstrong arrived for his shift and radioed to Larry to let him in. And Larry came to the front and unlocked the door for Anthony. And the whole thing's really a process for Larry to let these people in. He's all the way in the back in the office. And every time someone arrives, he has to stop what he's doing and then work his way from the very back of this giant box store to the very front. Right?
Yeah. And those stores were huge.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
The last employee to arrive was Richard Shepard at 5 a.m. He radioed to Larry to come let him in, but he wasn't getting a response from Larry. So he actually went over to the front door of the Babies R Us, and that door was open.
Oh, because they were connected, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They look like separate stores. They present in the front as separate stores, but they're all one giant store.
Right.
See, so it was weird that this door was unlocked because it shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when Richard got into Toys R Us, he just started his shift. And the thing is, the store is so huge, right, that these 5 employees can spend hours doing their work in the area that they're in charge of and not even see each other.
Right.
Isaac was in toys, which is just in and to the left of the front of the store. Isaac really took pride in that area and how well he kept it stocked and looking nice. Cindy was in the next section over. Her job that day was to unload a bunch of pallets of merchandise, get the shelves that had been wiped out the night before from a busy Friday night of shopping, restocked and ready for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac said Cindy's shelves were always the best stocked shelves in the store. That she was a very hard worker, a perfectionist. She had been doing it for so long that she knew better than anyone else what she was doing, and she was extremely fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony was one of the youngest on the crew, and like he did at the start of every shift, he looked to his boss for direction on what he was supposed to be doing. He was quiet, not very sociable, and really was there just to do his job. Okay, so Anthony was one of the ones that wasn't like, this job is awesome. Right?
Yeah.
Isaac and Cindy, this job is awesome. Larry, this job is awesome. But Anthony's just like, whatever, I'm just here to get a paycheck.
Right.
Isaac said that they had a lot of fun while they were working, though, which made it less of a job for some of them and more of like an adventure, you know, and that this was a pretty tight-knit crew at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Then around 5:45 a.m., some kind of alarm starts going off in the store. Isaac was in the back when it started, and he tried to radio for Larry to turn it off. But like there was no answer from Larry. So he radioed for someone else and said, hey, can someone find Larry to turn the alarm off? It's getting annoying.
Right.
At that time, Cindy was the closest to the office. So she said she would go check. And then the next thing Isaac heard was Cindy screaming.
Oh, God.
Cindy called 911 and she tells the dispatcher that something's going on at Toys R Us. She had gone into the office and found Larry slumped in his chair. The phone was off the hook and he was bleeding from his chest. Cindy assumed it was a gunshot wound.
Yeah.
The police response accounted for the assumption that there was a shooter in the building. They established a perimeter to make sure that the scene was safe. The other 4 employees safely left the building and were ushered across the street. A couple of officers entered the store and made their way back to the office, and that's when they discovered that Larry had not been shot. He'd been stabbed. And he was still alive. But barely.
Yeah.
His breathing was very shallow and he had lost a lot of blood. So they literally like drag him out. And it's just like these 2 officers because technically they haven't secured this building yet.
Right.
So they raced him to the hospital while the SWAT team entered to do a sweep of the building. They found nothing suspicious and declared the crime scene safe to enter. Larry, only 35 years old, had actually been stabbed multiple times, and he died from the blood loss in the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
Oh.
Jill got news when some of the employees of Toys R Us came to her house. I'm not sure who was the ones who came and told her.
God. He must have been back there for quite some time bleeding out if when Isaac got there and tried to radio him, or was it Anthony?
It was Anthony.
Yeah.
He wasn't. No, Richard. It was Richard. Anthony was the one he did let in. Richard was the one that was like an hour late.
Okay. So the time from when somebody tried to radio him and then when he was found was still like another hour, wasn't it?
I'm trying to remember. So Richard tried to get him at 5 a.m. It doesn't really, I don't know if I have the time of when Cindy went in there, but I think it might have been like 6 a.m.
Okay. Yeah.
I think her call, I think her call to dispatch came in at like 6 a.m. So that would be an hour after Richard could get a hold of Larry.
Yeah.
So Jill and others in Larry's family, of course, raced to the hospital, but he had already passed. And oh my God, his dad is such a pumpkin.
Oh,
he's part of why I teared up.
Yeah.
He said he wished he'd been taken instead because no parent should outlive their kid.
Yeah, that's true.
Police begin their investigation, and everyone at the store that morning was considered a suspect. And this shit is wild, right? Why the fuck is the assistant manager of Toys R Us murdered in his office?
Mm-hmm.
This family man with no known enemies that everyone described as such a good man. He's an amazing husband and dad. He's well liked by all his coworkers. I mean, literally, like Isaac was like, everybody loved Larry.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make any sense. As the scene was processed, investigators had the employees that had been at the store that morning separated into different police vehicles and began questioning them. Isaac was adamant he didn't see anything or know anything, but police found him to be nervous and anxious. And when they found out that Richard had arrived late, they wanted to know why and where he was that made him late. And Richard said he'd gone to the grocery store to get some food and drinks to get him through the workday. He told the police about finding the baby's RS door unlocked and how he found that to be strange. Cindy gave a timeline to police on who arrived when, what they were all working on, Larry not responding on the radio, and her discovery of Larry in his office. And this is when they learned that it was Anthony who was the last person to actually see Larry alive. Anthony was also the least cooperative of the 4. So Richard was late, Isaac was anxious, Cindy found Larry, and Anthony wasn't being helpful. And now all 4 of these people were suspects as far as the cops were concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Police also conducted a neighborhood canvass, searched Larry and Jill's house, and looked into Larry's profile as a victim, and they came up with nothing. Larry had no skeletons in his closet and nothing to indicate that he would be the target of murder.
Are there security cameras inside the store or around? Okay. Yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay. Because I want to know why Babies R Us was open.
Don't we all?
Mm-hmm.
In the office where Larry was found, police swabbed all over in search of DNA evidence. There was a large amount of blood on the desk chair, and of course they swabbed the door handle. Beneath the chair was another pool of blood, and there was a baseball cap on the floor, a 2007 University of Florida Gators hat that was collected as evidence and also searched for DNA.
Yeah.
There was a security DVR that was swabbed as well. The power cord was unplugged and it was pulled away from the wall. This was also indicated that there could be video evidence on that DVR that might tell the police who Larry's murderer was.
Mm-hmm.
Then lead investigators who were working on the crime scene in the office get word that Bernie Gruska had arrived and was outside the store with the other employees and the police department. He had, of course, been called in because an employee had been murdered at one of the stores he was responsible for.
This is the regional guy?
Yes, that used to be the manager there. Police
Okay.
consulted with him on viewing the video footage. After scouring hours of video, they did find something. They could see someone with some type of disguise on at the front door. They're wearing like a hat, a mask, a scarf, like a whole getup. And this person has a key to unlock the door. At 4:24 a.m., this person enters the store on the Babies R Us side. And then very tactically and very carefully, as if attempting to elude the cameras, this figure makes their way to the back of the store, even ducking behind shelves and zigzagging and shit. And in this person's hand is a large butcher knife with over an 8-inch blade.
Oh my God.
It's wild to see.
You
It's
can-
like
you
a
can
horror
watch-
movie.
Oh, I'm picturing it and it's giving me chills. So you said 4:24
AM.
is this at this time Larry's still in the store by himself?
Well, no, because when Larry got there,
Oh yeah, the other people were waiting.
Isaac and Cindy were already waiting for him.
Okay.
This person eventually makes their way back up to the front of the Toys R Us store and enters Larry's office. It's 4:32 a.m. This person is literally lying in wait for Larry to enter the office.
Oh my God.
At 4:39, the DVR stops recording, which is like 7 minutes later on the tape. And so this is clearly the time that the DVR is unplugged and disconnected.
Yeah.
They watch the video a few more times, and that's when one of the investigators realizes that the Florida Gators baseball cap they found in the office is the hat that the murderer is wearing in the video.
Oh.
This becomes the key piece of evidence. Now they just need to get the right swab from the right guy, and they've got this case solved.
Right.
The police actually released the surveillance video to the media showing this guy creeping around the store that morning, hoping someone would recognize something about him. His clothes, his gait, his movements, whatever.
Right.
The lab did find DNA on the hat that was most likely from the suspect. They uploaded it to CODIS, but no match was found.
Did they take DNA swabs from the employees that were there?
Yes, we're getting there.
Okay, sorry. God, this one really has me on the edge of my seat.
I love it.
This is home invasion adjacent.
It is.
And
Work
I hate-
invasion. I know.
love it.
I know.
Mhm. Okay,
So the
keep going.
FBI was brought in to help with the collection and analysis of DNA samples from virtually every employee of the Toys R Us store, 47 in total from former and current employees.
Oh yeah, because it's anyone that could have a key, right?
That's right. And of course, even putting a rush on the DNA test, that shit takes time. And in the meantime, police interview hundreds of people trying to find out if there were disgruntled employees, people fired by Larry, and of those fired, why did he fire them? It took weeks and weeks. They did get a tip from a witness living in the area who said that he had seen a black Chevy Impala in the area that night about 1 a.m. in the parking lot of the Toys R Us, which was sus.
Yeah.
There was no picture of this car and no license plate or any other information with that tip, though. So that's all they had. Finally, the DNA test results start rolling in, and out of the 47 samples taken, not a single one was a match for the DNA found on the murderer's hat.
What? What?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Almost 2 months have gone by, and the police are at square one. So they called the FBI again. And this time they asked him for help with a profile of a perpetrator who attacks a male victim with a knife in a toy store.
They're like, hold on, let me just go through my profile chart here.
It's very like Clue too, right? Like it was with a knife in the toy store. Like what?
Yes, it was Colonel Mustard. Yeah,
right.
Oh my God.
This did lead them to someone named Patrick Walden, who had recently been released from jail and had been arrested in a neighboring town. The vehicle he was arrested in was registered to an employee of Toys R Us, his mom. There was a knife found in the vehicle. The police thought maybe he could have stolen keys from her to gain access to the building. So they set out to find this guy and get his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They put a tail on him, and lo and behold, he threw a cigarette butt out the window of his car.
Jerk. Littering jerk.
Littering jerk, but also thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA test revealed that he was not a match for the murderer. Back to the drawing board again. It was really starting to look like whoever killed Larry was going to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Police decided to start from the beginning, pour over everything, retrace their steps, and see if there was anything they might have overlooked.
Yeah.
And that's when they realized they had no DNA swab from Bernie.
I just got chills.
And while he had been super cooperative in the investigation with anything the detectives needed throughout the past couple of months, every time they reminded him that they needed his swab, he had some reasonable excuse of why he couldn't come in and give a sample.
Mm-hmm.
So on August 14th, they go find Bernie at his dad's place, and they're like, hey, bro, sorry to bother you. We know you're not feeling great, but we gotta get your swab.
Mm-hmm.
Took all of 20 seconds. So they kept working the case while they waited for the results. Finally, more than 3 months after Larry's murder, the results of Bernie's swab comes back, and it's a fucking match.
No, but why, Bernie? Fucking why?
Police went to interview Bernie Gruska at his house on October 16th. They bring a video camera with them to document it, in case they can get him to confess right there. They asked him if he knew whose DNA was found on the power cord of the DVR, and he said, well, it's probably mine, but he worked with that equipment, right? So, like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when they told him about the DNA on the hat, he said he didn't own that hat, didn't wear that hat, didn't know anything about that hat.
Mm-hmm.
He denied his guilt completely. He was argumentative with police, and then he demanded a lawyer and stopped talking, and they arrested him.
Shit.
Police still couldn't understand Bernie's motive, though.
I can't either.
Through a search of his house, they found a bunch of stuff, including video games and memory cards, just a ton of Toys R Us merchandise. They also discovered that Bernie had rented a black Chevy Impala on Friday the 28th at about 8 a.m. They also quickly learned that all the merchandise they collected from his house was stolen. Fuck. He had actually stolen over $200,000 worth of property from Toys R Us.
Wow.
Police believe that this was... I want to get into this, but police believe that this was a case of a robbery gone wrong, that Bernie was actually there to get into the safe and steal the money, and it didn't go as planned. But they had a problem with being able to win the case for murder. And this is where I get confused, because at one point they said he was stabbed multiple times, but then they say here, apparently there had been a recent ruling in the appellate court that said that one stab was not enough to be called murder.
Okay.
And they were afraid that if they went forward on a murder charge, it would get overturned on appeal.
I see.
This is like a New York State ruling.
That's also a very strange ruling.
It is a strange ruling. So the DA gave Bernie a plea deal. In exchange for a lesser charge of manslaughter, he would get a confession from Bernie to killing Larry. And he also explained that he had been stealing for financial reasons. Bernie had been living well beyond his means in a house he couldn't afford and a lifestyle he couldn't afford.
My first instinct for motive would have been that Larry knew what Bernie was doing and that Bernie was
Right?
afraid that he would tell on him or something.
Right? Bernie
Mhm.
claimed he never intended to kill Larry. He said Bernie parked in the parking lot around 1 a.m. and cased the place. When he entered the store and made his way to the manager's office to wait for Larry to arrive, was just to get him to give him access to the safe. He said an altercation ensued. He was flailing around with the knife and accidentally stabbed Larry. He ran out unseen, not realizing he'd left the hat behind, and peeled off in a panic and threw the knife into the dump.
So he's going to confront Larry in the office. Larry knows exactly who he is. He's going to steal and then just be like, what, see you at the next staff meeting?
Well, he
And
was in a disguise. He had like something over his face, but still.
still.
And this is where, okay, so let me finish. I have like
Okay.
a couple more sentences and then I want to get into it because I have questions too. At
Mhm.
sentencing, Jill gave her victim impact statement. It was heartbreaking. And she talked about how Madison cries all the time for her daddy. And Peyton was born 5 months after Larry was murdered and has never met her dad.
Yeah.
Bernard Gruska was sentenced to 25 years to life.
Mhm.
The thing that bothers me about this particular confession and the way that the police have decided to just accept what Bernie fucking said is that Larry was found in his chair at the desk, slumped over on the desk, and the phone off the hook.
Mhm.
Like, that doesn't imply to me that he died in a struggle.
No. It sounds like he was
Ambushed.
yeah, snuck up on.
Right.
Mhm.
I actually think you're probably right. I think that Larry was catching on to what Bernie was doing.
Mhm. Yeah. Because yeah, God, so many things. Yeah. Oh my God, I hate it. That is so creepy. That is so creepy.
This
Oh,
Bernie guy is just such a fucking douchebag too. When you see him on the camera, when the cops are at his house trying to get him, he's a fucking loser.
yeah. He sounds like a fucking loser. Wow. Poor Larry.
I know. I feel like his family, Larry was just literally like everyone loved Larry. He was amazing.
Yeah.
He was 35 years old.
Shit. Ugh. Fuck.
I know.
I hated that.
I'm sorry, sister.
His girls, his poor little daughter that would play dress up with him.
I
That breaks
know.
my heart.
I know. She was 4, so she's like old enough to remember.
Mhm.
You know, like it sucks that Peyton never knew her dad, but something feels almost worse about remembering and being so young when he's taken.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
because
know?
it is something taken away from you.
Yes.
Oh my God. I hated that.
I'm sorry, sister.
God, way to put a damper on Toys R Us.
That's the murder of Larry Wells.
I hate that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Do
Okay.
you have a palate cleanse for us today?
A little, yeah, you could call it that. You know, anything would be a palate cleanser compared to that.
I mean, fair enough.
Okay. Okay. So I watched this weird documentary a long time ago.
I love
Yeah.
it when you like watch a weird documentary like 10 years ago that you cannot forget about. And then you're like, that is a fucking chaos story. We are doing that. That's how we ended up talking about the island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh God. Yeah.
You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you. That one lives in infamy. This wasn't that long ago. I actually initially watched it to do a story and it was so much that it overwhelmed me. And so I just put my notes aside.
This isn't tickling, is it? Because I was going to do
No,
that.
No, I can't watch. No, I couldn't get through that documentary.
Okay, it is still on my list. I will come to you one day and
Thank
we
you.
will talk about tickling.
That one overwhelmed me 15 minutes in. I'm like, I'm already confused about what's going on. I can't.
Okay,
This one was close, but I made it.
Okay, I'm proud of you.
So, thank you. This was called Breath of Fire. And I'm going to tell you about Katie Griggs, aka Guru Jagat. Jagat. I don't
What?
know. Mhm.
Oh, it's still cult season.
It's cult season. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So we're going to start by talking about Kundalini yoga. Okay.
You know, when it involves yoga, because I have another one I want to cover that also involves yoga.
Is it that one guy that was super rapey?
Bikram?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you do that one. 'Cause that
Okay.
How
Sorry.
scary.
I'm
No.
derailing us, but there's
No.
just a lot to look out for in that space.
For sure. And anybody that calls themselves guru ... It's
Well,
like they
What was with it? We covered fucking what's her name? Anne Hamilton Byrne down in Australia.
Yes.
She like what last week or 2 weeks?
Mhm.
She got all of her most of her fucking followers. She recruited from her yoga classes.
Yes. Well, this documentary came up as a suggestion for me after I watched the lady that turned herself blue with the silver.
Oh,
What was that one?
Mother Love,
Mother Love Bone.
Mother God, Love has won.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. It's like, oh, you might also like this. I'm like, yes, thank you. I would.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kundalini is an energy described in Hinduism as your own evolutionary source and potential.
Mm-hmm.
A Kundalini awakening is the movement of your Kundalini energy within your body.
Yes.
And people have been known to have like a random Kundalini awakening, which has sort of been described almost like a psychedelic experience.
Yep. I'm actually real familiar with the Kundalini awakening.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Is that part of your Eat, Pray, Love year?
No, I haven't had my own Kundalini awakening, but I run in circles with some who have, and I'm like, as a open-minded spiritual girl, I am not poo-pooing the Kundalini awakening.
I want a Kundalini awakening.
Seriously, it sounds really sexy, actually.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds kind of freeing too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So you can attempt to create a Kundalini awakening by way of Kundalini yoga. Okay.
Supposedly, sure. Sure. Yeah.
So the most popular current case of this is Jim Carrey. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know Jim Carrey had a Kundalini awakening.
That's his vibe right now. He was really depressed for a long time, and then he had a Kundalini awakening, and he says that it reset his psyche.
Interesting.
I know.
But some people do that with DMT, so, you know, to
Yeah,
each his own.
Yeah, or, what you call it? Ketamine.
Sure.
So Yogi Bhajan popularized Bhajan.
Nailed it.
It. Popularized Kundalini yoga in the US. Bhajan was a controversial figure. He was born, I'm going to try and do this right. Harbhajan Singh Puri in 1929 in a region of India that is now part of Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
He moved to the US in the 60s and began his career as a customs inspector.
Okay.
He eventually founded like dozens of companies, including a $1 billion plus private security firm that guards like places of high interest.
Okay.
Apparently.
So he's an uber capitalist.
He's an uber capitalist. Yep. He also founded the Yogi Tea, which you can find.
Oh, I'm
everywhere.
familiar with that brand. Yep.
Mm-hmm. From there, he went on to open several studios where he sold vegetarian health food along with his Kundalini yoga practice.
So he's an uber capitalist and also an expert in a Kundalini awakening through yoga.
Stop it. That is the thread through this whole story.
Oh, God, I fucking... Look,
People
if you're...
sacred things.
We have talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
If your spiritual practice involves you making a shit ton of money on teaching your spiritual practice, especially to like Westerners, you're a fucking charlatan and you have no fucking moral backbone.
Correct.
Mic drop. But not really, because that's a hard
Don't do that.
edit. That's a hard edit.
That's a hard edit. We have to start over. Blah, blah, blah. Don't drop your mic. Find a pen nearby or something that you can drop. So, of course, this attracted the, attention of the Hollywood elite.
Of course.
Of course. He drew criticism for how he represented his religion and how he handled disputes in business. In the early 2000s, multiple former Kundalini practitioners came forward with accusations of sexual assault and rape.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I'm shocked by this.
Right. But despite all this, his death in 2004 was like mourned by many. There's like he's got this property in New Mexico, and there's like streets in New Mexico named after him. He's like their Lord and Savior. I don't know.
It's like whatever they've got going on for Scientology down in Florida.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Katie Briggs claimed that Yogi Bhajan personally named her his successor.
This white lady from fucking Minnesota, or
Yep. I don't think she was from Minnesota, but Colorado.
Oh, okay, Colorado. Sure.
Sure. Uh-huh. And it was her personal mission to open yoga studios in LA. So Katie did this, and
that was her personal mission.
Mm-hmm.
This is what her Kundalini spirit and energy was telling her needed to happen.
Not to find peace.
No, it was open yoga studios in Los Angeles, where there is just a dearth of yoga studios. I mean, where do you even get yoga in LA until this gal comes along?
Yeah, I mean, there's a real need. There's a real need. She's there to serve the needs of this community. Mm-hmm. God.
Okay.
So she does this, and she immediately, gets endorsed by Alicia Keys, Russell Brand, Kate Hudson, to name
Russell
a few.
Brand. Oh yeah, I really want to be endorsed by Russell Brand. God, rapey Russell.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Rapey Russell.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can't.
Yep.
This is the palate cleanse we needed.
Oh, good. All right, so let's talk about Katie Briggs. So she was born August 30th, 1979 in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Nailed it.
I'm not even drinking wine. I just malfunctioned.
It's fine.
It's fine. Okay, wait until you hear this next sentence. I just read it and I was like, what? That's true. That's true too. So she's born in Colorado to her mom, Nancy Steinem Galloway. Her mom was a therapeutic clown. Which?
What is that? Like
Stop it. My next
like aversion therapy? What is that for? Like aversion, like immersion therapy? Like if you're afraid of clowns, you go hang out with her.
That's what I thought, but no, it's more of like a Patch Adams vibe. I didn't know that was a career.
I mean, you can make, the beauty of capitalism, Amber, is that if you can make money off of it, you can make a career out of it.
I guess. So that's where she started. She would bring joy to patients through humor and play.
Okay.
Yep. Katie attended private school for most of elementary school. Her mom, Nancy, met Rabbit Galloway.
I'm sorry. Rabbit?
Rabbit. Mm-hmm.
That's his first name.
Like Eminem in 8 Mile. Yeah.
Okay.
Through one of her New Age circles, and spent many years traveling to different New Age communities. Nancy said that Katie took in the New Age teachings at a pretty young age, and it was obvious that she liked to be the center of attention.
Great combination. Just
chef's kiss. Oh God.
I'm getting Teal Swan vibes now.
Yeah, she was compared to Teal Swan multiple times. Multiple times.
Yep. They're about the same age.
Yep. which is also our age.
I know.
So it's
That's
like,
what I was thinking too when you were talking about this and you said when she was born and stuff. I'm like, this gal is like our age. She's a white chick from Colorado who's like our age.
I know.
She's taking over. Okay. I keep going.
I know.
I keep going.
On behalf of our age group, we're sorry.
We're so sorry.
We're so
our age
sorry.
group and our demographic. We apologize
We are so sorry.
profusely for every white lady who thinks that she's a fucking guru. Okay.
So sorry. Guru Karen. So
no.
At the age of 7, she would have everyone sit around the table and stare at a lit candle as a way to practice meditation.
I mean, that's fine.
That's the thing.
That's fine.
In her early 20s, she was really trying to discover herself and decided that she wanted to do life like most people, and she didn't want to do life like most people in their 20s. So, I mean, she had tried out a few colleges, spent a lot of time partying, and she was just not into any of that like traditional path, you know?
Which is also fine.
Totally fine. It was after one of her colleges where she was sexually assaulted that she started drinking heavily and sort of diving really deep into like this new age techniques to try to deal with her trauma.
Yeah, there's nothing better. There's no better combination than diving into new age, like woo-woo spirituality while absolutely fucking shit-faced all the time.
Listen.
Look, it worked really well for Mother God. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it could be a slippery slope, although full confession, on air confession, during my Eat, Pray, Love year, I was drinking a lot of wine, and that's when I taught myself tarot cards and really did start to turn to them for like practical answers. And then I was like, maybe I should just get some data. Maybe I should lean on some data.
First data point. Too much alcohol. Rein it in.
Yeah. But I mean, we've all been there.
Sure.
You just can't keep going further down that rabbit hole. So, so she's drinking heavily. She's doing new age stuff. It was around this time that Katie called her mom and told her that she was now going by Athena Day. I'm not Katie anymore. I'm Athena Day. And her boyfriend at the time was to be addressed as Zeus.
Okay, Teal.
But after she broke up with Zeus, she went back to Katie, but she kept the last name Day.
Okay.
She even spent some time in the Rajneesh cult, the one
yes, the one up in down in Oregon.
Yeah, from Wild Country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. After that, she had a brief stint with the Ashtanga community. The Ashtanga community refers to the group of individuals who practice Ashtanga yoga, which was like a specific lineage-based style of yoga. It's like a global network of practitioners, teachers, and studios united by their shared dedication to the traditional yoga practice.
Okay.
So they emphasize the importance of regular practice, following a specific sequence of postures, and connecting with others who share the same passion. So kind of...
It's like borderline culty.
It's borderline culty. It's yoga cult. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So she did eventually finish college and earned a degree in something. I don't know what. I have no idea. She graduated from Antioch University in Ohio, which was like, isn't that a Christian school?
I don't know. Maybe.
Antioch?
Maybe.
I don't know. She was in her mid-20s when she found Kundalini yoga. And according to her, Yogi Bhajan like personally taught her.
I'm sure he did.
Mm-hmm. That guy could be his own episode.
Sure. And also, if she's in her early 20s, like he's already like an established, he was born in the 20s or something. Like this is an old man.
This is an old man.
A creeper old man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, Athena or whatever she's calling herself now.
And she's very pretty. She's very pretty. Yeah.
Of course she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but so Yogi, he claims to have lived have learned Kundalini yoga from the masters in his home country, but he's had several people, including his own family members, who have said that he was never exposed to Kundalini yoga in his life. He never met any masters. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. And this is 100% capitalism.
Of course it is.
So even the man himself was like, not.
No.
Mm-mm. But the white hippies in the US, they didn't know that. And so there you go. Some of the things that he promoted outside of just the yoga practice was that he expected his followers to give up alcohol, drugs, and meat.
I do not necessarily think that that's a bad way to live.
No. It's not a bad way to live. There's just a lot of hypocrisy going on here.
Oh, as he's like flying in his private jet, drinking champagne and eating steaks.
There it is. Yep.
What's good for the goose is not good for the gander in this one. Okay,
that's right. That's
got
right.
it.
He also said that the use of any Western medicine was evil. And if someone got sick, they just needed to meditate more.
There it is.
That's always dangerous.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. He also told his followers that they needed to live a celibate life.
Fuck out of here. That is when I'm leaving the cult.
I know.
No.
But he was like super rapey, so it's like,
yes,
off.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of guys are always, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Here is a quote from him from one of his lectures in 1978. This is very triggering.
Great.
He says, quote, "Nobody can be raped until you do not invite it. Rape is always invited. It never happens. A person who is raped is always proving subconsciously the environment and the arrangements. If you do not provide the circumstances and the arrangements, it is impossible to be raped."
That is some Scientology fucking victim blaming bullshit right there.
Mm-hmm.
That is like straight from the mouth of L. Ron motherfucking Hubbard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ugh.
Here's a quote from one of the actual masters of Kundalini yoga. He said, quote, referring to Yogi Bhajan, "Hearing our mantras and prayers marketed as a millionaire's mantra or snake oil scheme is traumatizing."
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you, dude.
Taking our sacred fucking spiritual practice and turning it into a billion-dollar business is fucking sacrilegious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So even though he preached his wholesome, healthy lifestyle, he had several Rolls Royces and multiple homes, including one in Beverly Hills and that compound in New Mexico.
This is no different than those fucking evangelicals on TV who bring in like millions and millions of dollars. And like old ladies who are living off fixed incomes are sending their money to these guys. And these guys are like living the fucking high life with their fancy, like multiple fancy cars and multiple mansions. And it's exactly the same.
Yeah, that's another thing that was said in this doc. You're so good. You don't have to watch the documentary. Yeah.
It's just the Eastern religion version of the same shit.
So this yogi guy, his favorite place to eat was Taco Bell.
Of course he has no fucking class or taste.
No. Healthy, wholesome lifestyle. Nothing is healthy if you get a whole ass meal for 69 cents. That is frightening. I won't even eat at Taco Bell.
No.
Mm-mm. But Taco Time though. That's the vibe.
That's a whole other story.
That's good,
Yeah.
fresh.
That's
okay.
Right.
So Katie takes her first Kundalini class in the early 2000s, and she claims that she had her first awakening within 20 seconds.
Stop it.
Yeah. And
you know what? I felt the spirit of Jesus move through me as soon as I walked into that church. You know, it was Jesus.
It was probably just gas. From the Taco Bell. Seriously. God. Fuck these people.
I cannot.
Oh So, because she felt this, she took this as a sign that she was special and this was her destiny.
Okay.
So she hears about 3HO, which stands for Healthy, Happy, Holy Organization. And it's a movement and a nonprofit organization founded by Yogi Bear.
Hey, boo boo.
You know what? I had no idea about that. Hey, boo boo.
I'm dying.
Oh my God. About the yogi tea. And I had so much of that in my pantry. I threw it all out when I learned that, but I was like, oh, that's a really good tea brand. Oh,
You
fuck.
could have drank it and then just not bought more. You didn't have to waste all that tea, sister.
I felt the demons running through me and I needed it out of my
It was bad juju. You had to get it out of your house.
Yeah, and this needs to be out of my house. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the 3HO, healthy,
Right.
happy, holy, it focuses on promoting a lifestyle centered around Kundalini yoga, meditation, and selfless service with the goal of helping individuals realize their full potential.
Okay, but selfless service to the service of the organization, not to the service of humanity, right?
Correct.
Right. It's like selfless service the way this gal I used to work with claimed that she spent her weekends doing volunteer work. But what she really meant was she was part of the Jehovah's Witness and she spent her weekends accosting people at their own front doors, trying to get them to convert to Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
Right.
That's not volunteer service.
Right.
No. God.
Okay.
Gross.
Okay.
So there was a 3HO opportunity to learn from Yogi personally for a few $1,000s. So according to Katie, she jumped at this chance and she claimed that she spent the next 2 years learning from him personally.
I bet she did.
Mm-hmm. She even said that the two spent 3 days straight in a tantric meditation together.
Did they now?
Yeah. But there's some people that claim that she never met the guy. Yeah.
Okay.
She really was like, I was his person. He taught me special. Like I'm the one to take over this whole thing. But it's up for debate whether she ever met him. She also claims that he gave her the name Guru Jagat. She said at the time she was given that name, she wasn't ready to go by that yet. So instead she went by Kundalini Katie.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Kundalini Katie.
I'm going to call you Namaste Naomi.
Oh my God. Kundalini Katie is like she's the yoga Barbie. She comes with a mat and a towel and a pair of leggings and a sports bra and a water bottle.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. And a Taco Bell bag. The yoga Barbie. That does sound like Kundalini Katie. I'm gonna pee my pants. That's amazing. Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Oh God.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Ooh, we haven't had one like this in a while. This is good.
So she moves to LA in 2003, and Kundalini Katie is ready to start making money. It was that following year in 2004 that Yogi Bear died at the age of 75.
Mm-hmm.
He was in really bad shape, which is why he died, because he didn't actually live his life the way that he claimed to.
Right.
He had diabetes, and he had
Sorry.
his feet amputated.
Oh my God. This is type 2, right? I mean, this is like adult onset. Yes.
Yes. Oh, yep. So he sounds a lot like Elron, where he was actually kind of in hiding.
Right, because he didn't want people who follow his shit and buy his shit to know that he was a fucking unhealthy fucking mess.
Yeah.
And a hypocrite. Yeah.
Totally. Katie claimed that she attended his funeral in person, and it was there that he came to her in spirit and told her that she would be his successor.
At first you said it was there that he came to her, and I was like, he was dead. I don't understand.
Of course he was there. It was his party. Oh, God. Oh. Okay. She claims a lot to that Yogi Bear is talking to her. And
sure.
You can watch a lot of her stuff is like on YouTube. And when she tells the story of him talking to her, she does it all like, I was just sitting there and he was all, Kundalini Katie. Then she's totally serious. It's me. I have a message.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. So it was after this that she changed her look from yoga pants to the white flowing robe and a turban.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she started her first YouTube channel where she offered meditations. By 2013, she was teaching full-time to sold-out classes at her studio called Yoga West. And then Yogi Bear visited her again and told her it was time to open another studio with his previous business partner, Harry G. Wan, who was actually Stephen Oxenhandler. Harry G. Wan.
From Minnesota.
Yes. Oh my gosh. My next sentence. He was born in 1947 in St. Louis.
Missouri, Minnesota.
Whatever. Oh, man. So Hariji Wan, who is Stephen, was born into a Jewish household. He was one of the earliest followers to Yogi Bear when he first came to the U.S. And this Stephen guy was also a sketchy fucking business owner.
Uh-huh.
At one point, he had a telemarketing scheme selling gemstones. In 1998, he was banned from owning or operating any business related to the collectibles.
Just collectibles.
Just collectibles. Then in 2000, he was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison for selling fake printer toners to businesses.
What?
They were just like empty.
What?
I don't know.
Scammers of a feather. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They always flock together.
Mm-hmm. So Katie buddies up with him, and she also calls her mom Nancy and stepdad Rabbit and gets a $20,000 loan so that she could open Rama Yoga Studios in Venice Beach. And her mom was under the impression that it was just a regular yoga studio. Mm-hmm. So she's like, sure. She had the studio, but she also had these online classes. She had business courses and retreats that cost thousands of dollars, right?
Oh my God. It's always the retreats. And that's where the weird shit goes down too.
Yes. The more you pay, the more exposure you have to the weird shit. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And the evolution of these teachings really started to kind of turn into the prosperity gospel.
Oh, yeah, of course. Uh-huh. I mean, that's what like the mean, that's really what the basis of like his take on Western medicine and praying the sickness away comes from too. It's all connected to prosperity gospel bullshit. It's manifest. It's all in your mind. Your health is in your mind. Your lack of money is in your mind. It's all in your mind. You can manifest. You just aren't manifesting hard enough.
Yeah. Your amputated feet, that's just in your mind.
That's just in your mind. You know, if your whole fucking community is being bombed and genocided off the planet, you're just not manifesting the reality that you want, you know?
Oh, God, it's so problematic. It's
fucking gross, dude.
So at the Venice Beach location, community members would see every day, starting at 8:30 a.m., a parade of white women, all in white robes and turbans.
No.
Their cappuccinos go streaming into this studio.
If this is not the most appropriative Karen moment I have ever fucking heard.
I know.
It's the turbans that throws it over the edge for me.
A lot of them, including Katie, would wear the turbans with their hair out, almost like a really thick headband, which is considered very disrespectful.
Well, it's not. It's just an accessory, Amber.
Yeah. Oh my God. Stop it. Katie would publicly make statements like spending money and living in luxury was good for your spiritual journey.
Okay.
In a 2021 Vanity Fair article, she said, quote, "I am not love and light. I am very direct and I talk about shit that other people won't talk about."
Right.
The Vanity Fair writer who had contacted Katie because of the mounting controversy surrounding her business practices didn't know at the time, but this would end up being Katie's last interview. So more on that later. So her studio sessions are like sold out every day with a bunch of high profile attendees, right? She was always late to the session almost every day. She went on to publish a book called Invincible Living. She opened up a yoga studio in Boulder, Colorado, one in New York, and had plans to open one in Spain. There were also over 300 events, retreats, and festivals that were happening at any given time. And she also started a podcast called Reality Riffing.
Okay.
And her and her business partner, Steven, are just making bank, right? But some of her teachings started to look stranger and stranger. For example, one of her detoxes was she told her followers to only eat fruits that started with the letter P for a week.
What?
No explanation for this. Only fruits that start with P.
I got like 3. I couldn't come up with 4. I got 4 top of mind. That's 4 fruits you're eating all week.
What you got?
I got peach, plum, persimmon, and pomegranate.
All right, I got papaya and pear.
Oh, okay. So that's 7. 6. That's 6. That's 6 fruits.
But nothing but for a week.
Fruitarians. That's a thing, you know.
Okay, well, that sounds like a hard on the tummy.
It sounds real hard on the tummy.
Ooh. Okay, so as for her employees, they were treated like shit.
Of course. Of course.
Most of her employees were her followers. They weren't allowed any protein. Not really sure why.
What?
They were told when they could bathe. Most were woken up around 3 a.m. so that they could meditate. And most were either not paid at all or paid very little, like $600 a month. So they all had second jobs.
Well, were they living together with her somewhere?
No, it sounded very like, remember like the initiation hazing or whatever that was going on with Nexium?
Yeah.
Where like, if I call you at 2 a.m., you need to jump up and go run my errand. It was a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And obviously none of them were offered health insurance because Western medicine is a no.
Right.
Yeah. And she would also force her employees to tell her their deepest secrets so she could use those secrets to blackmail them later.
That's also very Nexium and most other cults. Yeah,
Yep.
100%.
I just burped into the mic. I'm so sorry.
Love it.
She's been compared to Teal Swan many, many times. By 2016, her employees are starting to have their tiny paychecks bounce. And that same year, Katie was sued by the investors of the Boulder, Colorado studio because she was given $200,000 in seed money to open the studio under the agreement that 40% of the profits would go back to the investors, but those investors never got any money.
Mm-hmm.
She used the seed money along with the Boulder studio credit card for her own personal expenses. Yeah.
Okay.
She also failed to pay rent at her Venice Beach studio, which was $10,000 per month.
Yeah.
And oh my God. So she hired multiple CPAs. And according to Katie, they have no idea what they're doing.
None of them. They're all
And
incompetent. They have no business even being licensed for that shit.
no. And she referred to QuickBooks as a mind control program.
I mean, some bookkeepers might agree with her.
It's the work of the devil. We'll start
100%.
there.
100%.
But basically, every CPA that tries to tell her that she can't use company money for her bullshit, she just fires them and says they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
A year later, Katie gets in contact with this woman named Philippa Hughes, who was one of her followers who lived in Spain. And since Katie wanted to open a studio in Spain, and Philippa was, of course, excited that her spiritual guru had reached out to her, she starts working for months, unpaid, scoping out buildings for Katie that would work for a studio. She even fronted her own money to make a rent deposit when she found the place. And this place that she found, there was a single bedroom apartment above the studio where Philippa and her son lived while they waited for Katie to show up and take over like the preparations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Katie shows up. She kicks Philippa and her son out of the apartment so that she could have the bedroom.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So her and her son are like sleeping on the couch. Philippa was like pretty mad and vocal about it. And when Katie's other followers heard about this, they verbally attacked Philippa. They said she was betraying their leader. And of course, you know, our leader gets the bed. Like she's Kundalini Katie.
You expect her to just sleep on her fucking yoga mat?
No, that's not happening.
With her towel as a pillow?
Mm-hmm. So on top of like working for months unpaid, like I think this is later on in my story, but Katie sends her a bill for rent for when her and her son were staying in that apartment.
For the apartment that she paid out of pocket for on her behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this woman is just a fucking piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. So here's some other Katie behaviors.
TM.
She would only fly first class or business class. She refused to wear the same outfit twice. Her employees had to post to her Instagram a minimum of 3 times a day, and they were all just pictures of Katie. She would only stay in 5-star hotels. And she was traveling like 300 days out of the year. So you can imagine like how
That's
much
expensive.
Mm-hmm. She would DoorDash every day up to 5 times a day.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And one time she lost her shit on one of her employees when she didn't get any sour cream with her burrito bowl.
From Taco Bell?
I don't know where it was from. Yeah. Okay, so the Spain studio has a grand opening, and Katie completely excludes Philippa from being part of that at all. Mm-hmm. And she never got the $20,000 that she used to help open that.
Of course she didn't.
And then the COVID pandemic hit, and Katie got even more fucking delulu.
Oh.
She married one of her followers, Austin Dunbar, who was renamed to Teg Nam.
Okay.
He was 16 years younger than her, and Teg believed that the pandemic was orchestrated by the Jews, and it was all a lie. Katie made one of her followers watch the documentary Plandemic.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. She continued to do in-person classes at the Venice Beach studio, and she would not allow masks to be worn inside her studio. Uh-huh.
Okay.
She invited QAnon conspiracy theorists, Holocaust deniers, and lizard people onto her podcast as guests.
She invited lizard people or people who believed in lizard people?
They were lizard people, Naomi. She also continuously blamed sexual assault victims for their own trauma, and she called Black Lives Matter protesters cockroaches.
Oh, we've heard that insult used on someone recently as well from another cult leader. Who was that?
I don't know. Pick one.
It was the cat. It was the cat cult.
Oh, the
lady.
cat cult.
She called some group cockroaches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, on a trip to Germany, Katie had slipped while getting out of the shower and broke her ankle. And German doctors told her not to fly until after she had surgery, but she didn't believe in Western medicine, so of course she flew anyway. She made it back to Venice Beach, and during a surgery on August 1st, 2021, she died, likely due to an embolism that developed during her flight that she wasn't supposed to take.
Holy shit!
Mm-hmm. She was 41 years old, and at the time of her death, she weighed close to 250 pounds. Likely from all the door dashing.
And the 5-star hotel living.
Yep. And just like Yogi Bear, extremely unhealthy and not practicing what she preached.
And people were following her anyway?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, no offense, but like I prefer my yoga instructors be, fairly healthy.
Yeah. Oh, it's like having a hairstylist with the worst hair. It's like, I don't know. I don't know that I should trust this. Yeah. And that is Katie Griggs, aka Guru fucking Jacket. I don't know.
AKA Kundalini Katie.
Kundalini Katie. Collect all accessories. Yeah.
Sister?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that gave me life.
Would you say that you had a Kundalini awakening?
Well, I definitely feel something. I'm feeling something,
Yeah. Good. Oh, man. Whew.
You know what? Oh, sister, everything feels better after we've recorded.
Samesies.
Everything feels lighter and more manageable. Like we're on the right track. So
right.
I love you.
Love you.
Chaos Kids, go give us a rating wherever you're listening. Just take literally 30 seconds. Go to the thing, give us a rating. If you're on an Apple product, you can do it in the Apple podcast. You can typey a rating, like a review for us. So we love that so much. We're going to continue to have bonus episodes every month. We've got over 2 years worth of bonus content in there. If you go to the Patreon and join the Chaos Kids Club, it's $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every month and you get the new episodes a day early. And every once in a while, we have a virtual wine night. So come join us there. And you know what? You can just join the club, the Patreon, for free as a free member and see anything we post that isn't behind the paywall. We do hang out over there. So
that's right.
You can talk to us over there or send us an email.
crimewineandchaos@gmail.com. We read all of them.
We read all of them. Amber gets the love letters. I get the hate mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same email address, though. Just
correct.
It's easier that way.
That's
so.
Right.
Oh, sister,
I love you.
That was so chaotic.
So chaotic. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.